Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your boy, the SeanDavieWay Show. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in and tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I bring you a surviving on Bad Boy Records and what happened to the music group Total. If you don't know who Total, a girl group from the 90s is, allow me to fill you in. From my own personal experience, they were incredible. They kind of just came out of nowhere, and I'm glad that they did because they took the 90s by wave. No one in the 90s didn't want a piece of this group, from record labels to other major artists, including B.I.G. and more, wanted a part of these three beautiful women because, again, they were sensational. Let's get into who these women are. Total is an American R&B group and one of the signature acts of the Bad Boy Records imprint during the mid-1990s. The group consisted of founding members Kima Rayner and Keisha Speedy. I think it's important to note how the group actually came together, and Kima and Keisha were the two first members of the group Total, and Total wasn't their original name. But Kima did an interview with Essence to state how the group came together, and I think that that is important to know the origin of how this R&B sensation got together. So, without holding you, let's jump into her interview from Essence. Kima from the group Total. I believe when people think of Bad Boy Records, they think of the Notorious B.I.G., Craig Mack, and others. But did you know, fun fact, that after Craig Mack and Biggie were signed to Bad Boy, the next artists that were signed were Total. So they're like the female pioneers, the first when it comes to Bad Boy, not Lil' Kim or people like that. No, literally Total. They were the first females ever signed to Bad Boy Records. So let's get into Kima. There was a history before meeting Sean Combs or before meeting the person who introduced us to Sean Combs. Kima tells Essence, I remember Keisha. We weren't friends at the time, but I remember her. She definitely a leader and has always inspired me as someone I've looked up to. She heard me singing Mariah Carey in the car one time and said, let's start a group. So she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She gave me that confidence and encouragement. From there, the two friends met a local producer who introduced them to Pam. Her quote, Kima, one day our producer was like, I think y'all should hear this other girl, Keisha said. She's got a dope sound and I think y'all would all sound great together. Keisha admits Pam wasn't completely convinced that the group was the right fit for her at first, but says it didn't take her long to come around. So we took a listen to her stuff and she came to meet us. When we asked her what she thought, she was like, I really like your stuff, but let me think about it. So in hindsight, Pam thought we might be a little too prissy for her. She laughs, but she got over it. She called us later on the next day and was like, let's do it. Side note, this is why I say it's important to know the true origin of a group, because how music labels push groups, we kind of have to put the story together on our own, because Pam was pushed to be more so of the lead of the group. And you have other groups like Destiny's Child, who's fathered one of the members of the group and built the group around their child. You would think that the group Total was built around Pam, and that's not the truth. Keisha is actually the one who put this group together. Heard Kima singing, loved her voice, said, hey, let's put a group together. And then Pam came along later on and was pushed as the lead of the group. So again, with the fans, we're going to look at it like, oh, this is more so Pam's group and the other members are the doo-wop girls if they aren't getting lead vocals, which in the group Total, the other members did get to shine. Keisha got to shine and Kima got to shine as well. But we all know, if you heard this group, that Pam was pushed as the lead vocalist because she did have a unique sound. So again, the group Total did not come together because of Pam. She came last. Let's keep going. Kima says their devotion to the hustle that then landed them in the graces of the mother of Diddy's godson, who ultimately became their manager. Before they knew it, Total was face to face with none other than the bad boy boss man himself. Kima's quote, so one day our manager pulled up and was like, you know your Total song that you guys made up? Put Puffy's name in it. After we did it, she came back and told us to get ready to meet him. Despite impressing Diddy with an impromptu vocal performance, Keisha says the group was slightly caught off guard by his initial response to their meeting. Her quote, "He asked us a few questions and then we answered them. He was like, 'You girls are really good. I wish you a lot of luck. Just stay together and don't give up.' We kind of felt a little bad when we left." The trio found out that Mr. Combs was much more interested in them than he led on. Quote, "I remember when we got the call later on that night," Keisha said. So Total, Big, and Craig Mack were the first artists signed to Bad Boy, and the rest is history. Like many who start out young in the music industry and end up trying to navigate their way through adulthood in the public eye, the ladies admit that their journeys back to the stage wasn't always a united one. Quote, "It was finished for the first moment, but this is the next chapter. We bowed out gracefully after our first run. Because of the circumstances, we never got to finish what that journey was," Keisha says. Total was initially a duo before Pamela Long joined. The group first met during the early 1990s. Their individual styles is what captured the audience's attention. Kima Rayner was the member who dressed on the casual chic. Keisha Spivey was more of a sexual look, and Pamela Long was the tomboy of the bunch. Pam's quote, "I come from the straight up ghetto, and that's who I am. I hung out with guys my entire life because I thought females were petty," Long told the New York Daily News in 1996. "My brother James would let me hang out with him, and he would school me on the ways of men. I love the way guys move, and that's how I learned to dance. I always hated the way females dance to prissy." The group's prissy style was actually what turned Long off. She first met her future group mates when they were rehearsing as a duet in a studio near their hometown in Somerset, New Jersey. At the time, Long was a solo artist. When first approached with the idea to become a trip, Long admitted she said no way. Thankfully, she quickly gave in. "But I learned I couldn't judge someone from the outside," she says, "and now look where we are." The trio made their first appearance singing the hook on the Notorious B.I.G.'s debut single, Juicy, garnering attention for the new group. They were also featured on the original version of the hip-hop remix of his next single, One More Chance. They then immediately hit the studio with Bad Boy Records CEO Sean Puffy Combs and began working on their debut album. The first single, Can't You See, first appeared on the soundtrack to the 1995 motion picture, New Jersey Drive. The song featured the Notorious B.I.G. and peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, as well as number 2 on the R&B chart. Side note, so it's no coincidence that the Notorious B.I.G. hopped on their first single, Can't You See, because it was like him returning a favor. They had helped him by jumping on his first 2 tracks like Juicy and the remix of One More Chance and whatnot. And those were big songs for the Notorious B.I.G. So, of course, he loved the group Total. They had a great rapport. And musically, they gelled really well because Can't You See was a national anthem in every neighborhood, especially black neighborhoods. That was a really, really big song. How the Notorious B.I.G. came in very dominant with those lyrics, like the first couple bars from that track. It's like you'll never forget. Everybody knows the beginning of the production of that beat really gets the crowd moving and the party jumping. When he came in, it was an amazing, amazing song. And still to this day, that song knocks. Can't You See was monumental. So shout out to Notorious B.I.G. and shout out to Total because, again, they were musical gel. They gelled well instantly. It's like Biggie was a part of the group. So shout out to all of them because they did that. Moving right along. Their self-titled debut album was released nearly a year after the single. Total produced 2 more R&B top 10 hits, including No One Else and its remix featuring Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown, and Da Brat, and Kissing You, and its remix featuring Sean Puffy Combs. The album was certified platinum by the RIAA. While recording their second album, they appeared on numerous top 10 singles, including LL Cool J's Loungin' Who Do You Love, Foxy Brown I Can't, and Mace's What You Want, featuring Keisha Epps, and Pamela Long sung the chorus on the hit Hypnotized by the Notorious B.I.G. The group also released another single with Missy Elliott and Timbaland called What About Us from the Soul Food soundtrack. Their follow-up album, Kima, Keisha, and Pam, debuted to strong reviews, sales, and was certified gold by the RIAA. The first single, another Missy Elliott collaboration, Trippin', reached to the top 10 of the US Billboard Hot 100 chart. Their next release, Sitting Home, which made the top 10 of the Billboard R&B singles, did not garner the same attention. While in heavy rotation on the networks like BET, radio chose not to play the song. A remix of the track featured rap artist Shine. Trippin' was a great track. I love that song, and I also love the video. I thought it was very creative. Shout out to Missy Elliott and Timbaland. They definitely did their thing on the production. When it comes to the song Sitting at Home, I was very shocked that that song didn't do better because it was an amazing song. We loved it. I love the video. I love that choreography. I like when they did little mini stories inside of their videos back in the day. People really don't do that as much as they used to. So I thought it was great, and it really didn't get any radio play. The only time you really seen or heard the song is if you were watching VH1 or BET. Like 106 & Park had it in heavy rotation. I believe it was number one a couple times on the countdown over there. So you had to be in selected places to hear songs from that second album. Now, I will admit Trippin' did a lot better than Sitting at Home, which again is weird to me because both of them are amazing tracks. So when Shine got on the remix, I didn't think that that was going to be too helpful because of everything that was going on in the press with Shine and Diddy and Jennifer Lopez at the time. So I don't think it was a good look to put someone like that on the track. But again, the track wasn't getting rotation before the remix, and the original version is the best version. So that was very shocking. What I think happened is that Bad Boy Records stopped pushing the group Total because Diddy only did what he needed to do to get what he needed out of groups before he disposed of them. And at that point in time, I felt that he was already ready to jump off of the Total bandwagon because he had signed so many different artists within the time of their releases of their albums. So I felt that he was biting off more than he could chew, but he really didn't care because he was chewing well. He was eating well. The group members were not. So Total helped launch Bad Boy Records just like the Notorious B.I.G. and Craig Mack, but they were not getting their just due. They were not getting what they deserved, but Diddy definitely was. He loved to, again, chew up an artist, spit them out, and move on to the next, meaning get as much money as he can out of their projects and then move on. And that's exactly what happened while they are all signed to horrible contracts and want to move on to continue their careers, but he could care less, you know, if y'all stick here with me and I keep collecting the royalties and whatnot off of these albums, I get to make money in my sleep. If y'all move on and join other record labels and whatnot, then I won't make as much money because I will have to barter and trade. And I don't want to do that. I signed you to a certain amount of album deal. We got 2 of those albums out. You still owe me a couple. And until I get them, you can't move. And again, he is the one that was making all the money. The group was not. So I just felt that Diddy was ready to move on from the group, but just didn't want to tell them. Keep this image that he cares about them and loves them and he got their back. Whole time, it's the complete opposite. But let's keep going. Fun fact about the group Total. Their original name was Total Opposites. Kima was the chic one, Keisha was the sexy one, and Pam was more so of like the tomboy. Their name changed to just Total because of Sean Puffy Combs. He kept calling them Total and it just kind of stuck. So they went forward with the name Total for their music group instead of the name Total Opposites. So just a fun fact, they didn't start off as the group Total. Their name was Total Opposites. Of course, music groups have their up and downs. They have times to where they love each other and they have times to where they hate each other. This is multiple personalities being put on one ticket and supposed to have one sound and be one talent. And sometimes, like the group even admitted before, that they weren't always a united front. Keisha was the first one to leave the group. Before returning, she did leave, and it did play a huge factor in her leaving after the Notorious B.I.G. passed away. It took a big toll on her. So let's get into that. After their second album, Keisha reportedly left the group. In a 2008 documentary following the Bad Boy reunion tour, Keisha admitted that she faced a lot of sadness and depression over the death of Biggie, and it put a damper on things for her, seemingly as a contributing factor to her exiting the group. She married Love and Basketball star Omar Epps, and together they have 3 children, one from a previous marriage. Long and Rainer continued to perform the group's hits as a duo until Keisha agreed to do the Bad Boy reunion tour. It would be Keisha's final time with the group. But it doesn't mean, again, that the groups didn't have their ups and downs and that they weren't going to break up to make up. During one of those times that they broke up, did you know that Mila from the group 702, the lead songstress, had joined the group Total? Yes, Mila from 702 was a part of the group Total. Let's get into that. Now to We Got Soul. We recently sat with Pamela Long from the group Total as a special guest on our Soul Back in R&B podcast, and she dropped some serious gems on us. We had all been aware that the group Total had their differences as a group following their second album, but little did we know they almost underwent a high-profile lineup change. Pam revealed exclusively to us, quote, "There was a time, I don't think a lot of people know about this, but Kima had quit the group. It was myself, Keisha, and Mila. Everybody was loving it. But then it was like Puff took a while to sign Mila, and of course, everything got back to normal. Mila was rocking with us. We had recorded a few songs with her. Everybody was going bananas over this. That was after the second album. We were going to come back with Mila. Puff waited too long, and 702, they had their comeback to the table with a deal. And Mila went with that deal. We recorded some songs with Mila that we still have. When I say it was fire, it was fire. Then Puff started calling us the Chocolate Girls because Mila and I are more dark-skinned than Keisha." Side note, so at the time, Mila was leaving the group 702, although they didn't have anything contractually keeping them together. So, of course, everybody needs work. Pam reached out to Mila to join the group after Keisha and Kima had left, but Keisha returned soon after. Kima stayed gone. So they tried to replace her with Mila. Puff, being the colorist that he is, decided to change their name to the Chocolate Girls because Mila and Pam are darker women, melanated women. I don't feel there was a need to change the name at all. You're only getting rid of one member, which was Kima, and Mila joining the group does not mean all of y'all are dark. So let's call you something that relates to that. To me, that was very disgusting. There was no reason to change the name. If so, I feel that the women should have did it on their own. I think Puff was dragging his feet because he did not like the fact that Mila was so dark-skinned. I really feel that way. I feel if they would have replaced her with someone of a lighter tone, I think Puffy would have been more behind the project and getting them back onto the stage. Because what is the point of Mila coming in and recording with them, bringing new songs and stuff to the table just for Diddy to say no? Again, the music was great. Mila is an incredible singer. You got Pam, very talented. And you got Keisha, very talented as well. What is the problem? The problem is the group was too dark. Hence the name, the Chocolate Girls. I feel that that is very offensive. I don't think that it was like, oh, I have a good idea. Let's change your name to the Chocolate Girls. Like, no, I think it was offensive and him basically insulting them and letting Pam down easy by saying, I'm not feeling this. Because again, he was dragging his feet. He could have easily put this group together. So 702 got an opportunity to come back together, and Mila went with that deal instead of the replacement for the total group package. So I'm actually glad that Mila got back with 702 because they were an amazing group on their own. And I think that it would have caused a lot of rivalry with the fans and whatnot, the 702 fans trying to get behind Total because it wasn't who they loved. You know, they loved 702 and they loved Total, and these are two separate groups. So I, in my honest opinion, do not think that it would have been a good look for Mila to join the group just because of diehard fans. So let's keep it going. Total also had a past with Wendy Williams, and not a good one, kind of volatile and violent. Wendy Williams and Sean Diddy Combs have had beef with each other for years. If you've been under a rock, you don't know this. Let me lift the rock and scream down there that, hey, Wendy Williams and Sean Diddy or Sean Puffy Combs do not like each other until Wendy got her daytime talk show and her and Sean Puffy Combs kind of squashed their beef on an international scale. But when she had her radio show, Diddy allegedly took a part in getting her fired from it. Let's get into that. The drama between the pair began in the 1990s when Williams spoke out against Diddy on her radio show, Hot 97, on multiple occasions. In 1998, Williams was fired from the radio show and has maintained a belief that Diddy played a role in it. Side note, I'm going to have to agree with Wendy Williams. I do think that Diddy, especially having a lot of power at that point in time, took a role in getting her fired from the show. But did you know he also sent the group Total down to Wendy Williams' radio podcast, if you will, to jump her? Yes, Diddy, as known to send people, henchmen and others to do his dirty work, sent the group Total down to the radio station, Hot 97 at the time, to jump Wendy Williams. Let's get into that. Before getting fired from Hot 97, Williams claimed in 2005 during her radio show, The Wendy Williams Experience, that she almost got jumped by the girl group Total, who was signed to Diddy's record label, Bad Boy Records. Williams recalled the alleged moment and hinted that Diddy was involved during a 2019 episode of her talk show. Wendy's quote, "Once upon a time, there was a music mogul who sent his all-girl group to beat my ASS in front of the radio station. Fact," she claimed. "I finished my shift, wound up my headphones, put my bag on my arm, and I see everybody lined up at the window looking down on the sidewalk." Williams explained that she was dating ex-husband Kevin Hunter at the time, and they had encountered the musical act. "I find this girl group jump out of a gypsy cab and come after me," she alleged, "to beat my ASS. For what? You know what I said was true. You were all broke and you were living in the project, and that was that."
Remember, I got off the air one day and them the Total downstairs waiting, and everybody upstairs at the radio station is looking down, egging it on, waiting for something to go down. I wasn't yet married. My knight in shining armor screeched up in his car just out of nowhere. I didn't even know what was about to happen. Skell hiding like a girl. Thanks, Skell. I'm standing in the door like, what? And I'm literally about to go through. Now, I'm not like, what, let's fight. Because I'm not one of those type of broads. And plus, there was 3 of them. Out of nowhere. This is like when I think we were first starting to date. We were brand new into it. You know, there were little signs. You know how little signs kick in that certain people are meant to be in your life and stuff. There were a lot of those that happened before, we actually sealed the deal. And that was like one of them. Like, God only knows what would have happened if I got out on the sidewalk and everything like that. Papers going flying, scale cowering. The little Chinese man that drove the van that they were coming at. There was no security or anything. It was just them 3 fighting broads.
Side note, so fact, the girl group Total was told by Diddy to go down to the radio station and beat up Wendy Williams. She has stated on the air that Total was broke and that they were living in the projects. They weren't making any money at Bad Boy Records. And honestly, it was true. They were all humbled and working their own jobs. Kima even spoke on the fact that she was still in school, she was working a 9 to 5, and we're going to get into that too. We'll jump right into that. But yeah, she was telling the truth. But of course, Diddy and his big ego, being a narcissist, did not want that information out there. He wanted to make it seem like all of his artists were living luxurious lives and whatnot, and they weren't. They were basically next to poor because they owed the label so much money. Again, you don't get to just run free with that money that they're giving you. You have to give it back, and sometimes the bill outweighs what's inside of your account. But let's jump into Kima stating that she had been humbled in the industry long ago. Jumping back into Total's interview with Essence. For Kima, the hard times that the group members went through, both individually and together, are a testament of their authenticity. Her quote, "I believe real respect's real, and we're real. When we're at odds, we're at odds. When it was real, and that's why people gravitate towards us." Kima also opened up about how her own reality changed during the group's hiatus. Some people assume that because you have an opportunity to do this or that there won't be any ups and downs. But that's just not how it is. You think because I have a record deal with Puffy, I don't have the same struggles you have. But I've always looked at the industry as like, yeah, I got a record deal, but the ish is just borrowing money from a bank. You gotta pay it back. At the end of the day, it's a job. You get out what you put in. To elaborate on my journey, I went to school, I have a 9 to 5, I work a regular job. Although I love Total, at some point, that ish is non-existent for me. I still have to feel good about me and feel like I was accomplishing something. Everybody's walk is not everybody's walk. Side note, long story short, if she's telling you that just because I have a record deal with Puffy does not mean I'm not anything or anyone different from you, is crazy, because I've never had a record deal with Puff Daddy and I didn't live this elaborate life. I feel that the group Total should have, because they're a platinum selling group. So they should be living a pretty good or cushioned life in the 90s. Now, how you use your money and what you do with your money can definitely determine how your future is, how the outcome is. But during that time, they should have been living really wealthy and healthy lives, but they weren't. She was still working a 9 to 5. I'm working a 9 to 5, or at that time would have been working a 9 to 5 because I have to feed my family. Her working a 9 to 5 is crazy because you are a platinum selling, world renowned artist. Why are you and I both saying welcome to McDonald's, please, when we have different careers? We have a different setup. We are supposed to be making different money and being on 2 different levels. That just tells you that she wasn't making any money and that the money that they did get was taken away from them. So yeah, they're living these high profile, lavish lifestyles by going to parties and meeting a lot of other celebrities and whatnot, but they were broke doing all of those things. But they're not allowed to talk about it, especially having a boss like Diddy. He's way too narcissistic for you to put those things out there. Image is everything to Sean Puffy Combs. So they, as artists, cannot come forward like the TLCs and others that are like, yeah, we're broke, we don't have any money, we sold all these records, but we don't have anything to show for it. Just because y'all see us on these red carpets and collecting all of these awards does not mean that we are reaping the total benefits. And that is Total story as well. They're putting in all of this work, doing everything they need to do, becoming superstars, just to live like normal day-to-day people. Let's keep going. I love the group Total, and I also love every member individually, but I also have my individual issues with some of the members in the group, mainly Pam. Pam is a liar. She has lied on multiple occasions. I've always known, just purely based off of instinct and intuition, that Pam was a lesbian, that Pam likes women. And it wasn't just because of the way that she dressed or, being tomboyish and things like that. I don't feel that way at all. That does not mean that a woman is a lesbian because she chooses to dress or act a certain way. I believe that Pam was a lesbian because she is. It was a long time rumor that her and Keisha from the group were an item, that they were messing around, and we're going to get more into that. But before we do get into her lying about her lesbianhood, let's get into her lying on her ex-husband. Now, her last name is Long because she was married to a man named Jamie Long. The marriage did not work out, and in the process, she wrote a book just to come forward to let us know that she lied on her ex-husband Jamie inside of the book after he got married to a new woman. Let's get into that.
Forces itself on women. Do you remember that night? You want to go there? Come on. I don't think you really want to talk about you. So my thing is that all the lies, and like I said to anybody else, come on, hook me up to any machine that you want to hook me up to. But I don't think you can sit down and be comfortable hooked to something, telling all of these lies that you're saying. And then you're going to talk about me sleeping with women. I've never, and I told you before, because let's address this. I remember when you said something to me, and you was about the man that forced.
Pam Long of the R&B group Total was very vocal about her truth on her marriage to her ex-husband, Jamie Long, who is now married to Santoa Brown. Pam publicly accused him of abusive behavior to her and even alleged that he forced himself on her. It seems like the singer had a change of heart and issued a public apology to Jamie and his family. Pam's quote, "I come before you today with deep regrets concerning a statement that I'm about to make. On October 20th, 2019, for my show Pam's World, I made a comment about my ex-husband, Jamie Long. And that comment that he forces himself on women, and right after that, I said, do you remember that night? Basically, I was telling the world that my ex-husband forced himself on me sexually, and that was a lie."
I come before you today with deep regrets concerning the statement that I'm about to make. On October the 20th, 2019, for my show Pam's World, I made a comment about my ex-husband, Jamie Long. And that comment was that he forces himself on women. And right after that, I said, do you remember that night? I was telling the world, I was telling the world that my ex-husband, not even basically, I was telling the world that my ex-husband forced himself on me sexually. And that was a lie. Jamie, I'm sorry for what it is that I have said about you. I'm sorry for the shame that I have brought to your name, to your family, to you, your wife, your mom, your sister, and those who love you. Also to my family, to my church family, to my friends, to those who love me, who had no idea that this was a lie that I said concerning Jamie. I ask that you forgive me as well. Jamie, I'm sorry, and I know that sorry does not make up for what it is that I have said. But I ask that you would. Good morning, everybody. I hope that this message finds you well. I just wanted to get in your face for just a couple of minutes, really fast. There's some things that I like to share. In 2019, I actually wrote a book called Total Exposure, Pieces of Me. And upon me writing the book is about my life and some of the things that I went through. Regrettably, I want to get up here and I want to say to you that there are some parts of the book that I lied. I know that there's nothing that I can do to take it back. I can't go back and rewrite what it is that I've said. But it's time for me to come forth and to speak the truth, especially because I'm going forward in my life with God. I'm looking to be a better person. I'm not looking to be a liar anymore, to walk in those shoes anymore. And I've known that I've known this for a while. You know, I knew what I did, and I hid it. I knew that it kept coming up. I didn't want to have to come and confess this, but I truly believe that there are some things that have to be openly said because of it was openly done, you know, and it was openly done. So many people read the book. So many people saw me on interviews. I'm expressing the book and all of these things, but had no idea that the integrity of the book was lost because of me lying. And with that, I apologize to everybody. Please forgive me. To my family, to my New Life Now family, to my church, to those who, my friends, those who brought the book and and really believed everything that I said. And at this point in my life, like I said, for me to be able to go forward, I had to, and I have to come to this place. Was it scary to get here? Absolutely. But I'm moving forward. And I thank God that I don't have to be under guilt and shame anymore. So please, for those in my family, you don't have to try to defend me at all. This is something that had to be done, so you don't have to try to defend me. I'm sorry that for putting you in a place to feel like you would have to defend me. But the truth is the truth. And I had to come to the table with it. And I'm thankful to God for the opportunity to be able to do it. Thank you all. God bless you all. And again, I apologize for what it is that I have done. And I'm moving forward now. No longer am I looking to live in a place of lying. And so God bless you.
Side note, I think it is utterly disgusting that Pam would say these things about this man. Let's start off with Jamie being a black man and it being hard enough for us in any industry, let alone the music industry. And for her to go out there with all of this attention that is connected to her name and state these allegations on this man, knowing that she was lying, to me is unforgivable. I will give him kudos. I will give him a lot of positive energy and also, shake his hand if he can come to the point of forgiving Pam. But I honestly could not. Some things you just don't lie about. I know Pam wanted to sell her book. I understand that. And I think that the book would have done well either way, especially if she would have talked about what she truly is, which is a lesbian. But to sit there and lie on this man when he is getting married to another woman and trying to start a new family and whatnot, and for you to lie and say that he forces himself on not only other women, but forces himself upon you is truly unforgivable. I love the group Total, but I just cannot support something like that. I cannot support Pam as much as I want to. That is diabolical. She could have lied about so many things that wouldn't have been so disheartening and discouraging to this man's career. And she chose to hold on to it. And she keeps pushing these religious beliefs that she's come to God and come to glory and that she's changed. And I just don't feel like she has. In my mind, I view Pam a monster. I think Pam is a very evil, spiteful person because all of this was unnecessary. So I wish Jamie the best. I really hope she does more to vindicate him. But at this point in time, I'm sorry, I just can't support something like that. There are so many victims out here that are scared to come forward, even in marriages that these men have done horrendous things to them. And you have people like Pam ruining it because you use your platform to express these lies. And then when someone comes forward that is telling the truth about these things, they're not believed because they're using people like you as an example that women lie about SA. So I find it utterly disgusting. Shout out to Jamie Long and his new wife, Miss Brown. I wish y'all the best. Moving right along. For years in the industry, Pam was linked to a lot of other female celebrities that people knew she was gay, but couldn't necessarily prove it. But there was a lot of speculation and rumors going around about her, including that she had a fling with Keisha from the group Total, and also artists like Missy Elliott, Da Brat, the list goes on and on. Pam always denied it. She always said that she was a straight woman, that she was not interested in women, especially sexually, blah, blah, blah. Just for her to get on this show called The Encore from BET and state that she prayed the gay away. So there she goes again, lying to everybody, stating that she's never encountered women like that she's not a lesbian, she's not into those type of activities or women at all, just friendly with them, just to come forward and tell the truth with parentheses and state that she was gay and that she prayed it away. Let's get into that. The show Encore was about bringing a bunch of legendary girl groups together, meaning you could only be on the show if you were in a famous girl group. So you had girls like Cherish and people from 3LW, Danity Kane, Total, the list just goes on and on. During one of the episodes, Pam went on to the show Encore as like a born again Christian, and she didn't want to swear, she didn't want to drink, she didn't want to do any of those things. She would only want to sing lyrics to songs that were positive. They even did a gospel melody for her, just for us to find out that she was definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing. Keely Williams from the group 3LW is openly bisexual, and so is Aubrey O'Day from the group Danity Kane. During one of the episodes, they got a gist of how Pam really felt about homophobia and that she was living in the homophobia. So it's like she's like a homophobic homosexual, pretty much. So let's get into that. Pam's flawless public facade had a mass, gut-wrenching underlining feeling of resentment. It started after Danity Kane singer Aubrey O'Day affectionately caressed Pam's knee. Pam felt the need to rebuke that gay energy with a homophobic gospel rant because she felt something and was suppressing her urges. Aubrey triggered something that awakened the bulldagger in Pam. In the episode, Pam confessed that she was a former lesbian, now reformed after finding God. Women are generally known to be more nurturing and affectionate, and she overreacted to an innocent behavior. Understandably, bisexual Keely Williams of 3LW fame was upset and had to call out Pam on her homophobic ideations. "I'm not homophobic," Pam said. "I just believe the Bible said man shall not lay with men. If you're no longer into women, just say that. Quoting the Bible and claiming it's a sin, worst delivery ever. It just makes her come across as hateful to the LGBTQ people. And she was definitely projecting." On a more positive note, happy Pride Month, says Keely Williams.
Anybody else, come on, hook me up to any machine that you want to hook me up to. But I don't think you can sit down and be comfortable hooked to something, telling all of these lies that you're saying. And then you're going to talk about me sleeping with women. I've never, and I told you before, because let's address this. I remember when you said something to me.
Side note, so again, Pam always stated in the public that she was not into women, that she was not a lesbian, she was not sexual with women or anything like that. And this is even before she became like a devout Christian, if you will. And then when she does, Aubrey was just being affectionate. She was not trying to rub up on Pam or try to get with Pam. It was nothing sexual about it. It was just more so of Aubrey trying to be there for her within that moment in time. And women are 10 times more affectionate towards each other and men than men are. A man will hear a sad story and kind of just sit there and listen, but women are very nurturing, so they'll hug you or put their hand on your shoulder or put their hand on your knee. Pam made it seem as if Aubrey was trying to do something other than what it was. But what was happening was Pam is suppressing her gay nature, and Aubrey had to be attractive or something to Pam to make her feel like she was being triggered to be a lesbian again within that moment in time. So that's how it came out at all that Pam was into women when she stated that she wasn't. And she states that she prayed the gay away, the gay temptation that she had when it came to same sex. She prayed it away. She's no longer that. She doesn't feel that way. God took those feelings away. So she's just extremely hypocritical. And it was a letdown because it's just be who you are. If you're not interested in being a lesbian, just say, you know what? Back in the day, I was into girls. I was doing things with girls, but now I just don't feel that. I just want to be with a man. I was bisexual, still am bisexual, but I'm, going down the path of what the Bible is stating. I think that's a little easier to drink in than trying to make it seem as if you are homophobic. Like you don't get down with gay people. You don't want gay people around you. You don't want gay people touching you, bisexual people touching you, things like that. To me, it's just really hypocritical and it's disgusting behavior. It's different when someone that has always been a straight person like their whole life versus someone that was actually on that bandwagon doing same-sex things to now wanting to act as if that is beneath them, So it was very disappointing. And I think a lot of her fans that are lesbians or gay were very disappointed by Pam's behavior on that show when it came to homosexuality, when she's a part of the community herself. itself, but I digress. Let's keep going. Where is the group Total now? The R&B group Total is currently working on a new album and is rumored to have a fourth member in addition to Kima. In 2024, Kima and Dyson joined the Queens of R&B tour with Escape, SWV, 702, and Maya. Allegedly, the group is in the studio right now, and there's allegedly a new fourth member that has been placed in the group Total. Now, we'll see. The group Total goes up and down. 1 minute they're together, 1 minute they're not. 1 minute they are the original group, and then the next minute they are not. So I wish them the best. We love their music. They will always be legends in our mind. They have such a soulful, inspirational sound, and we just love to see the women together. We honestly do. I will always be a fan of the group Total. They have completed a mission that I don't even think that they knew that they were going to embark on. Regardless of them only having a few albums, they will always be Total. You know, we will always remember Keisha, Kima, and Pam. Pam has worked on some solo material. So has Kima. Keisha has been focusing on acting, just like her legendary actor husband, Omar Epps. And I'm proud of all three women. Again, it's not easy to be in the industry that they were in, and being Black women just made it a little bit harder, but they didn't give up. They kept pushing until those crowns got put on their head, and they are well deserved. So shout out to the group Total. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Keep pushing. I really hope that they are in the studio with a new album coming. And I also hope that they do join this tour that is allegedly coming up with the R&B divas. So shout out to them. Shout out to these queens. We love you all. Shout out to their fans. And until the next video, I love y'all. Bye.